So last September I took part in the Strada Easel Challenge, painting every day from life, and that's when I started painting toys. And somebody suggested it's a tarot deck, it's a toy tarot, and that idea took hold. So the toy tarot, where's it gone? Well, Christmas came as a single mom with 3 kids trying to create magic. The art studio was closed off. It was trashed with piled up furniture to make room for Christmas trees, and everything stopped. And then overwhelm took over, and then a self-berating voice telling me that I'd dropped the ball, I'd let it go. And mentally, the toy tarot began to find itself sinking into an unfinished project hole, full of self-berating voices. I'm sure I'm not the only one with one of those. But recently I am beginning to address those voices more and more and more, for the first time ever really in 50 years. So when a berating voice comes in and says, hey, you dropped the ball, you're a failure, you can't actually finish a project, can you? I'm beginning to say, well, I'm human. It's okay to take a rest. It doesn't mean that I've quit. It means I've just stopped for a while. And realising that I'm allowed to let life get in the way, to focus on Christmas, to put a room out of action because I'm creating a Christmas wonderland in the rest of the house, to understand that it's okay to do that. It's given me the permission to be able to then pick the unfinished project back up, to open up the paints again, to pick the paintbrush up, to clear and declutter the studio and say, okay, are we ready to start again? Resting and stopping didn't make it a failure, it was just a rest. And for me, that thought it's revelatory. Talk about not being able to see the forest for the trees when it comes to mental health. Sometimes it takes decades to just realise you're not a failure for stopping to have a rest. So I wanted to share with you the start of the project again, a return of the toy tarot. In this video there's 5 paintings being shown. Now 2 were done pre-Christmas, this being one of them that you're seeing now. This was a collection of toys from Tilly's bedroom. Now Tilly is a ray of sunshine, and I'm sure if you watched my channel for more than a few minutes, you'll know that already. And in Tilly's room, I found her smiley face emoji toy, which reminded me of the sun. So of course, I thought, let's paint the sun card. And then next to her bed was a little plastic doll, the most joyous doll I've ever seen, with bright smiles and bright eyes and pigtails, wearing roller skates. So let's put on a white Pegasus, another play toy, along with all the fairy toys that we own. So I set up a little still life. I made a garden wall out of Jenga blocks. And in homage to Tilly, I painted my version of the sun card. Now this was followed by one of their baby toys that I'd always kept. All 3 of my kids had played with this vintage shape block toy, teaching them about shapes and dexterity and fine motor skills. So I took this up to the caravan with me and began to paint it up there, and then returned home with it to finish the painting, a teaching toy, a hierophant if you will. It was more challenging actually than it looks. I would have thought just blocks would have been easier, but the colours on there and the subtle shifts of colour were quite tricky. So these were the 2 paintings that I did before I put the brushes away for a while. And I very nearly said there, before I downed tools on the project, that's my old way of talking, coming back in, because I never downed tools on the project. It's just real life got in the way. Messy rooms, Christmas, magic making for children, important, amazing, creative things in their own right. And again, I remind myself that that's okay. It's okay to be doing other things. It's okay to down tools on a project, to parent with magic. Hell, it's okay to just have stopped to do nothing, to mentally work through whatever I'm going through at the time. Overwhelm had crept in, I won't lie. Overwhelm about thinking ahead about all the paintings still to come, but more than that, about how on earth to process these paintings onto digital format and then to turn them into a tarot deck, then how to sell them, how to work out taxes and shipping. I was months and months ahead of myself here, overwhelmed with all the steps to come, when really it was just one step at a time. I'd raced ahead and had overwhelmed myself. Self-doubt had crept in, imposter syndrome. I can't make a deck, what am I thinking of? All of those things are okay. It's okay to be human, to not know how to get to the end of a project. I think I just need to remind myself, one step at a time. It's okay to be human. It's okay to stop. It's okay to get bored. We're not machines, are we? So this week, I wanted to garden, but I looked out the window and we've had a week of solid torrential rain. So instead, I put new cartridges in my printer and I printed off pictures of Kelly Bear's toy. Now, this is Kelly Bear's toy that she's had from a little baby. I was in one of her lives and she showed it and I said, oh my goodness me, you must send me photographs of that and I'll try and paint it for the toy tarot. So Kelly Bear's excitement I could sense in the background. I'd had the pictures a while now, and it was knowing that Kelly Bear was waiting to see a painting emerge that made me pick up paintbrushes again and say, come on, this project doesn't need to be finished just because you had a rest. Remember, you're not a machine. None of us are machines. So this week I started on Kelly Bear's beautiful pink bunny bear sucking its thumb with a carrot in hand, a toy that she would cuddle at night to stop herself from being scared of nightmares, of imagining weird carrots coming in to attack. A 9 of swords. A 9 of swords with pink, fluffy bunny ears. Because often the nightmares and the carrots and the racing ahead telling yourself you can't do a tarot deck are made up. They're not real carrots. They're imaginary carrots. So thank you, Kelly Bear, for getting me started again. And as I painted again, I could feel the old rhythm begin to settle back in, that old rhythm of blocking out, of mixing colours, the smell of the paint, the smell of terps in the air. It just felt familiar again. It hadn't gone anywhere, it hadn't ended. Just like having a rest doesn't mean you're finished. Whether that rest be a week or a month or 6 months or 6 years later, if you want to go back and pick it up again, you can. This is your own life. You make the rules. Perhaps that's it. Perhaps I'm not used to being in charge of making my own rules. I'm just used to being told I can't achieve anything. Perhaps turning rests into endings is a sign of having been told you can't be in control. Returning, re-picking up the paintbrush, feeling replenished as I begin again. That's where true control comes in, telling myself it's okay. You're not a machine. None of us are machines. What are we? We're complex emotional beings that sometimes don't allow ourselves to go back. But this time I said go back, and I'm back. The next painting I did was this FisherPrice pull-along phone. This was really strange. I had taken Tilly at the end of last year with some Christmas money up to the local charity shop just to see if she could find anything to spend. And as I parked the car and we began to walk to the shop, I just remembered my FisherPrice toy I'd had as a little kid. And I thought to myself walking up the street, oh, I would have loved to have kept that to paint for the toy tarot. It would be so fantastic if they had one in here. And sure enough, in a box full of cheap toys, I spotted a smiley face, a familiar face. And 50p later, this FisherPrice vintage toy belonged to me again. How bizarre. I think it had called to me as I walked up the street, a vision from nowhere of this phone, and then to find it sitting in a box full of broken Lego and Barbies. What an amazing moment. I don't think the woman behind the till could quite work out why I was so blown away and excited to be spending 50p on a baby toy. So I dived straight in. I've been dying to paint this since I bought it, and I loved every second of it. I love painting from life. If I hadn't have tried this project last September, I would never have known. I would never have known. Not only do I love painting in oils, but painting from life is just so much fun. And as I painted, not only was I watching Tarot Tube and thinking about you lovely lot, but I was also thinking about all the encouragement that is around me these days, from not only the people in my real life that I've chosen because of their kindness and their heart, but also this online community here, and all the people that have said to me in comments and on the recent lives that I've been doing that, oh no, your art's lovely, do a deck, we want a deck. Guys, I've never ever heard that sort of encouragement before from anybody. Oh. So as I painted, that was all going through my mind. What a lovely new voice to add into the internal chatter of my busy mind. So thank you so much. Your encouragement as well allowed me to say it's okay to pick up the brush again and to start again. Look at this beautiful vintage pull-along toy as well. This is another one that I absolutely love and I've been dying to paint. The colour mixing of this was a little bit trickier with the hues of the colours, the primary colours that I'd got, but I managed it and I loved it, and as I built the layers, it became just more and more of a journey into just loving what I'm doing a meditation journey really, and just a communing with colour and pattern and shapes and shadows. It's just such a lovely process to sit with a paintbrush in hand and to paint away, building up layers, trusting yourself, trusting the process, that a final piece that you're happy with will eventually emerge one step at a time. Allowing the painting to move one step at a time, as well as ourselves. See, even a painting doesn't get to a final destination in one great big leap. Any journey is a journey of trust and one step at a time, including us. And I think knowing that is really important for our mental health. So it's been really fun to come back replenished and to pick up a paintbrush again. And although there are steps in the future still to come that I know I don't know, and I'm very aware that I've painted these paintings in different shapes, some on long canvases, some on big canvases, some on square canvases, and yes, I do realise that that is going to cause a problem later on, that I'm either going to have to repaint some of these, or I'm going to have to learn how to digitally manipulate some of these. Another skill that I don't have, but that isn't this step, so let's not worry about it yet. So I'm aware that there's still some big issues to overcome here, but still it's lovely to be here where I am with a paintbrush in hand, just doing the next step. And if I have to repaint some, I have to repaint some. It's all part of the process, isn't it? So guys, a massive thank you for the encouragement as I've been in this period of rest. A massive encouragement for the kindness of the community here on YouTube. It's a really special thing. And encouragement today to anybody else that has put down something and has deemed it a failure instead of a rest. They're telling themselves they've dropped the ball, that they're now a failure. But I'm asking you, see the trees and realise it is a forest. A rest is just a rest. We are not machines. We have needs. We can stop and do nothing for as long as we want if that's what we need. We can admit to ourselves we're a little bit overwhelmed and we're doubting ourselves, we need to walk away. Or we can just say, you know, I've done this for a whole month now, I'm a bit bored, I want to change. All of these things are okay. And I think when we embrace the okay of that, we open up the pathway to being able to go back to things whenever we want. So, from me and the toy tarot and the next 5 pieces, thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Kelly Bear, for sharing your toy with me. Thank you to all of you for the encouragement, and I'll see you next time. Bye.